isn't somebody that's renting out their house, right? This is somebody that's buying properties to rent out to use as transient housing, whatever it may be. So, you know, there are differences in what that is and how you can control that and what you can do as far as the zoning goes. That's for the attorneys, I'm sure, to try to answer and look at that. We have a hard enough time, Mr. Cahill. You sit on that committee, and Ms. Pitts, about doing that and doing with the registry, and you know how these things go along, and we've seen it before. You know how it all starts out and it's all rosy, and everybody abides by everything that there is, and then all of a sudden it kind of slips off somewhere. Enforcing it and looking at that, please consider that when you're doing that with the amount of staff, because we know how hard the other one is for our staff to do.
What date is that in August? We just call a committee meeting for that. I don't have a.
In August?
Do we have one in July?
Is that good?
No. No committee meeting in July. That's where we're doing this.
That'd be August 15th.
Okay, write us in.
Okay.
As far as David goes and giving him some instructions about his staff, then we're going to do nothing until the August meeting. We'll just do status quo, the same we've been doing now with the enforcement?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Unless you get a complaint.
I'm going to make one.
I was gonna say, there might be one sitting here.
Yeah.
All right.
She's leaving here and going right down there getting her.
I'm going to
The
knock on the
next-
door.
The next item on the agenda is the Cowie and Woodward properties. Mr. Hahn, are you ready to discuss this?
Poor Dave.
Again, this is just to get some information and see which direction you all want to head. If you remember, some time ago, we discussed in this room to have the properties on Cowie sold to Habitat for Humanity, and you all agreed to that. The mayor signed the contract for us to donate them to Habitat for Humanity. The contract we had signed with them expired on this past Friday. They're still interested. However, I know that there was some discussion about if we wanted to continue with that. So when I talked to the mayor suggested that we have this and talk about this this evening to see if you all still want to look at donating those properties, the properties on Cowie to Habitat for Humanity and the properties on Woodward to Honk, Housing Opportunities in Northern Kentucky.
Go ahead, Mrs. Pitts.
People own their homes? I always thought they owned their homes, that they built it for the family, and the family stayed and lived there.
I think you're right.
They do too. They're very similar the way they operate, Honk and Habitat for Humanity. Habitat for Humanity actually gets a person and takes them through a program to get them, so basically they can get a loan.
Okay, gotcha.
They've required the person to have some sweat equity into the home. They actually go over there and do work to build, all this kind of stuff, and then the home is theirs to live in.
Right.
Honk does it a little different in that they do the same thing with getting the person ready to buy a home with finances and that sort of thing. However, they lease the home to this person for up to a year, and the money that they pay them for rent then goes towards a down payment for the home, and then that person then goes into the home. So, but if they default on it in that year, then they're gone, okay, so and they find another one that comes in there.
They're investing in that house.
Yes, so that yes.
That's wonderful. Great.
What happens if they default? Does Honk find another?
Yes.
Okay. So
yes.
Mrs. Pitts?
So, I mean, if we donate to Habitat, they have to tear it down. They pay for tearing down, and they...
That was one of our requirements, that they tear them down.
And it costs a lot of money to tear the homes down, and I think that's personally my opinion is to do
yes, that was, yeah, they cost them dollars to certainly tear down. Like the one we tore down on Woodward. Yeah. I wrote down the numbers just It was about $10,000, $10,625 to total for the environmental. You have to do an environmental study, and that one had some asbestos in it, so you had to get that removed. And so it was a total of, you know, about almost $11,000.
Well, I'm sure
Was
there's.
there
That's
other
the,
demos-
that was the Woodward home.
Cowie. I'm sure there's asbestos on Cowie too.
I had one of those inspected. And it didn't.
Really? I'm
Yeah,
shocked.
I had,
I thought the siding looked like it was asbestos.
they checked it out. Rainbow Environmental Services did the
That was new.
study.
Those new siding.
Was that the grocery store, or was that the one on the other side of the?
The one that I actually had tested, was 3410, which is
It's on
the old store.
that's yeah. You know, what's everybody think? Ford still?
3410 is the one I had tested.
I think the Habitat for Humanity is a no-brainer to me.
Mrs. Fetty had her hand up.
I think what we need to do is also look into the costs. So I know that there are costs associated with the study that was done and the purchase of the property and the back taxes that were owed to the
I've got
city.
the numbers.
So if we as council could all have a itemized list of all the different costs that went into 3409, 3410, and the Woodward property, so that we can truly see what we're giving away. I mean, that's taxpayer dollars, so we need to make sure that we're making an educated decision on it, and we have all information. That's
I have a
what
spreadsheet for the Cowie properties
Okay.
that I could run off a copy of, but I could work one up, the same kind of thing for the Woodward property as well.
And potentially what the costs would be for keeping them. So if we were in charge of the demolition. So I'd like to be able to do a cost-benefit analysis and understand what the costs that we already sunk into them, and then what the cost would be if we were to keep them and then sell the property individually, and what we could potentially save by giving them to Habitat or Honk.
Okay?
Just in
I
order to
can
make
tell
that-
you that.
Yeah, tell us what you have. I mean, just so we get
You
an
know,
idea.
you know, on the Cowie property, the 3409 Cowie, what I got from Steve was the $13,612.07 in that property.
That's total what we spent.
That's the total what we spent. 3410, $15,992.04. No?
But
Then-
that doesn't include what was owed or the.
What's that?
I mean, they owed back taxes and.
Yes, and that includes those taxes
That
that we
includes that?
paid.
Okay.
Yes.
I can add something to the old store. You can give that to somebody. Don't ask nothing for it, because you may have to pay them, because I don't know anyone want it, and that's gonna be expensive to tear down.
Well, and to answer Ms. Fetty's, the only thing that I have recently is the Woodward property. As far as tearing down, and we paid the environmental testing, $625 for that one. Then we had to have an environmental cleanup, which was $10,625. And then to tear the building down was $7,575. So that's what we have in the two lots on Woodward.
But for Woodward, we're also missing the back taxes, attorney's fees, that kind of stuff, right?
The one on Woodward, we didn't have any of that because it was the bank, Wells Fargo Bank, just here.
Just handed it.
Just handed it over and they took care of it. We didn't have to pay a penny for any of that.
Okay.
Okay.
And they give you those numbers because that's the only, I didn't get any quotes to tear the buildings down on Cowie since we were looking at the Habitat for Humanity for those, so I didn't go to that exercise.
The If we
Is that a
donate
write-off
them to
if we give?
Habitat for Humanity, how quickly will they tear those down for those poor people that live on?
Well, that I don't know at this point. You know, we can look at that and put something in the contract that they have to have them down by. You know, the way they work, their work is mostly all volunteer work. They got a group of people that come in and do, you know, they got engineers that donate their time. They have companies that tear buildings down and donate their times and all that sort of thing. So it's just a matter of them getting the right house that fits on the lot.
3 months to sign a contract.
And then tearing that down and building that house.
Is that a write-off for us? If we donate?
We don't claim
pay taxes.
The discussion had circled around before when we talked about doing this, and I believe it was, you know, we wanted to try to, excuse me, encourage single-family ownership to get people in, not rental properties, not anything like that. And this would be one way that we could do it. We'd also talked about contracts, and maybe we could do a purchase contract with somebody to sell them the properties to maybe accomplish the same thing, however it was to do. Decided to go the other way simply because of getting it in. Of course, then looking at the future value of the homes, and new homes would be there. They would be new construction. It wouldn't be somebody going in trying to rehab those existing houses. And like Mr. Nicely said, that store's just about falling down now.
Yeah,
about getting it
We
done.
wait too
Yeah.
much longer,
So
it might fall down.
It's gonna fall down.
It should be on Cali Avenue.
Yeah.
So, you know, that was all the things, but, you know, in looking at it to see, you know, how do we get this done to help improve the neighborhood and the least
Right.
expensive way for us to get it done. So,
I think that's, to me, the way to go, myself.
But I can say one thing on that, on Cali. I've been in it.
you're a brave man. You're a brave man. I didn't go inside.
I had a purpose.
Okay.
Okay. But there's a big liability the way it is now, because part of it is ready to fall.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Yeah. No doubt.
And the city better have a lot of insurance. Or get it tore down quick.
Okay.
You know, if we donate it, write it in the contract. You know, you got 3 months to tear it down or whatever.
You know, like,
Mrs. Fetty, do you feel like that was the information you were looking for?
Yeah, just one other question. Do we have homeowners insurance on those properties currently?
no. Now, I don't know if they're covered, Mark can speak to that probably.
Yeah, on any of our property, we have that. So when it comes in, it's automatically added to our blanket coverage of all of our buildings and properties, yes.
Okay, that's good.
Do you still feel like you want a summary from Mr. Hahn?
I'd really like itemized, if you have it.
I can give you a copy of this one, and then I can work one up for you for the Woodward property tomorrow and email it to you.
That'd be awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay, and I'll email it to everyone.
And we'll plan on putting it on the agenda for the July 18th meeting.
That was August.
Yep.
All right? Okay, next item on the agenda, under administration.
Dave?
Under administration, we've got, and I think this was mine, the departmental logo review. I don't know that we've had anybody create a logo, but I think the idea, when we talked about, you know, this kind of being or some rendition similar to that being our logo, that we would have the departments creating their own logo that would kind of follow that same brand. The police logo, I would say, is already probably pretty close, and I don't know if they want to adjust that at all, but Public Works or Fire, do you guys have anybody working on developing a logo?
We have a patch. We have several people that have been working on a patch, but it's just kind of been stagnant, waiting to see what we were allowed to do, if we were trying to be uniform or what we were trying to do with the departments.
Yeah, and I don't think that we're, at least the sound that I had from council that night was not necessarily that we were going to show you what you needed to have, was to put it in your hands and just following the same brand, you know, making it look like we're all the same brand and then we're all on the same team. So, I mean, kind of incorporating that same E and the state of Kentucky and a star. But as far as colors and if there's anything else that you want to put with it, what do you think would be a good timeline for us to talk about this again?
Okay, that sounds good.
I'm thinking let's put this one in there, let's do something with it. I would like, my opinion matters as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Well, for the 8th, how about the next meeting?
Take a look at some concepts at the July meeting.
We've been working on this for 5 years.
I know, for God's sake,
Let's
let's
get her done.
put this logo to bed.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Corinne.
So on the 18th, are we having a special council meeting and a committee meeting, or just a council meeting?
I think it's just a council meeting, a regular meeting.
Well, they could show us their things.
At 7 or 6:30? 7?
7.
Is it a committee meeting or a council meeting?
It'd be a council meeting.
Council meeting.
Oh, July.
Yeah, because the way the ordinance reads, since the actual meeting's on the 4th of July.
Yes.
When is it?
It's the third Tuesday, isn't it?
Yes.
So we wouldn't have to change anything. Wasn't that what we decided?
Yes,
We decided
yes.
it would be a third Tuesday council
Right.
meeting. Yes.
That's the 18th, yes.
A lot of discussion.
You got it.
That was it, third Tuesday.
All righty then.
So 7 o'clock.
Well, that'd be good. They'll have something, that'd be good.
All right. Any other discussion on the logos? Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion that we adjourn. Motion by Mrs. Pitts, second by Mrs. Sudkamp. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.